Hey everybody, Zombie Soundwave here, and today I want to talk about the next Pokemon Legends game. After reviewing Pokemon Legends ZA, I started thinking about what I want to see for the future of the Legends series. So I just wanted to run through a couple ideas, talk about some things I'd like to see continue, some things I want to see change, and just some different stuff like that. So if you're interested in this video, please leave a like, please leave a comment, all that stuff. Let me know in the comments what you want to see, and let's dive right into it. So with Pokemon Legends Arceus, it was very much a past game, experiencing the start of the Pokemon world. And this game feels very present. So naturally, I kind of thought maybe the next thing could be future. I'm not going to dive deep into the setting because ultimately we don't really know where Pokemon's going to take it. And now that they've done a game that's based kind of around the world of, Lumio City, a previous Pokemon location, that might be what they do going forward, is just kind of taking other games. Maybe the next game will take place in the Scarlet Violet world or Black and White, XY, wherever they decide to host it. Maybe it'll just be a sequel to ZA. We don't know. But yeah, I thought Future would be a nice, kind of natural next step. Kind of make a trilogy of these Legends games, past, present, future. And, I think a main character being, brought into the future, similar to how they were brought into the past, could be a really interesting setting. It allows for us to do some new Pokemon that maybe we've never seen before, more futuristic styled. And yeah, I think that could be a really cool setting for the game. Again, not going to dive too deep on this, because I don't think any of us really know where this thing's going to be. Just kind of a natural thought that popped into my head as I was thinking about the game. Going on though, combat. I'd like to see them keep the real-time combat system. I think it works really well. I think it's a fun addition to the game. It's a nice change to just the traditional turn-based combat. I do think that there might need to be some changes to it. I had a couple ideas. One, shorter cooldown times could be one way to do it. I also wondered if they could do a stacking thing where maybe you have 3 or 2 instances of a move, and then that cools down. If you only use it once, it cools down back to 2, or if you use it twice, then you have to wait for the 2 cooldown rotations. I just thought that might add a little bit more variety and allow you to maybe use a move, use another move, and then by the time you use that other move again, maybe you have a move coming back. I don't really know where the balance is quite there. It's definitely something I would have to use to see if that's too much or too little. So I'm sure that's they would test, obviously, but I think that could be a good way of, letting things feel a little different. I just think that real-time battle system is just not quite where I want it to be, but I think it's pretty good overall, and I definitely like the Legend series feeling different than the mainline series in that way. I also wondered if, similar to how this obviously isn't the turn-based system, if there could be some, modifiers that you could implement to just kind of make a difference, since it's not a mainline game anyway, and if we could do something where we actually get I don't know, maybe using 2 types of Pokemons that are, or 2 types of Pokemon that are different types, we could actually get benefits. Maybe if you use a fire and a water together, it actually gives you some kind of modifier or benefit, a steam benefit. I don't know, something like that. Just kind of add variety to the game, make it a little different than the mainline series. None of this stuff is absolutely necessary. These were just, again, some ideas that popped into my head while I was thinking about, what things I want to see changed. Also, open world. So, both of these games have technically been open world. And while I don't really think that the game needs to go Breath of the Wild, I don't think that's really what Pokemon fans are probably typically looking for. I don't think people want to have to hit a glider and jump into the water and swim. Nothing like that, per se. I do think, a more varied landscape would be cool. The city in this game isn't bad, but I do think the city is limiting, and I do wonder if, something that's more along the lines of, Scarlet and Violet's open world would be more interesting for people. I don't know if that's too big, and I'm sure it's too big in the sense of we probably aren't going to get a game that's that big from the Legend series, but something maybe a little closer to that is something that I think I would be more excited about personally. More, locations, landmarks, POIs, however you want to describe it. I also think more cityscapes, maybe even a dynamic weather system would be cool. More storytelling instances, maybe we can find ruins or long lost areas on the map, tech that's been left behind by groups, whatever, however they want to do it, because again, it's going to also depend on what time frame the world is in. But yeah, I think that could be pretty interesting. It would allow for us to have a bigger environment to play in, but I also think it makes the map more interesting. It gives us more opportunities to learn stuff about the Pokemon world, and all of that's just really interesting. So yeah, I think I'd like to see a more dynamic and bigger open world space for us to use in the next, mainline Legends game or main Legends game. On top of that, I would love to see Pokemon truly finally act like how animals act. I mean, Pokemon are a type of animal, or a species, or whatever you want to say. And I do think, we've obviously had Pokemon for a long time, but, when we see them portrayed in, media and stuff, they act a lot more animalistic. And I do think it would be cool to actually see, Pokemon react. Not just run away, but, maybe a Pokemon runs and hides in tall grass, or a Pokemon goes behind a rock, or if it's a Pokemon that lives in a pack, it actually is traveling in a pack, and you have to try to catch one of the Pokemon from the pack. I think all of this would be a really good way of, showing animal behavior in the Pokemon, but also I think it's a good way to make the world feel alive. Something that I think ZA struggles with both graphically and with just how a lot of the stuff's just very static in ZA. I think it would be really cool to actually see a group of Pokemon running through the landscape. Just a neat way to just make the game feel more alive, more interesting, more varied. If you come over a hill and you see a group of any kind of Pokemon running around, or a Squirtle swimming through the water, a group of Squirtle, whatever. It doesn't matter what Pokemon. It just, I think that's a good way to make the landscape feel varied, a good way to make the world feel alive, and to give players even more, instances of oh, cool, this is a world I want to be in. And that's something that I truly feel like ZA struggles with. I just think ZA doesn't always feel like a world I want to fully be in. It's not a bad game. It's not a game I don't want to play. It's just, at times, between the graphical issues and the fact that there are certain things that kind of feel static about the game and kind of feel, in a way, like I said in my review, 3DS based, where even, I think Pokemon Violet or Scarlet and Violet felt a little more interesting in its open world, where Pokemon felt a little more alive and stuff like that. So I just think that would be a good way to make the world feel more interesting, and to maybe make players a little more excited about being inside of this world. And then lastly, this one's not surprising. I mentioned it kind of in my review as well. I think side missions need to be expanded. I don't really know what exactly they need to do. I've thought about maybe they need to tell stories more over time. Maybe you come up against some side mission characters and that builds. Now, there are problems there of have I played the previous mission? How do they control that? Are there times where I'm locked out of a side mission because I haven't done a previous one? I just think they need to tell bigger arcs and make you more interested in these stories. And just the narratives probably need to be a little deeper. I don't think that they necessarily have to be the most life-changing things. It's just that they just need to be more interesting. They need to tell us deeper stories that actually make me care about doing these side missions. I also wonder if there was a way to make rewards more interesting. Maybe if you do a lot of side missions for a character and it's kind of an important character, maybe you get a cosmetic for either you or for something in the game that makes it look more like that character. I don't know. I just some way to make me feel more enticed to do some of these side missions and be a little more into the narrative that they're crafting with some of these side characters. So that's my biggest complaint. I think that's something that honestly is going to be probably more on their side than my side. I can give these ideas all day, but truthfully, they know how interested people are in side missions. They have the, data on that. So I don't know if this really is something that matters. I mean, it's something that matters to me because I just find narrative stuff interesting. So if it's something that people just don't really play that many of the side missions anyway, maybe this is good enough and they don't really care. But yeah, so like I said, let me know in the comments what you all think about both Pokemon Legends ZA and what you might like to see out of the future Legends series. And leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll have more, videos about Pokemon, more videos about other video games, and I hope to talk to you all about Pokemon in the comments. Catch y'all in the next video. Hope y'all have a great day. Peace out, everybody.